and welcome to today's episode of Quilt and Sew Tips with Annie's Creative Studio. I'm Heather Valentine, and today we are chatting all about digital patterns. Let's face it, it's a digital world, and these days our patterns fit right in. In today's class, I'll show you where to find your pattern, share tips on how to size and actually print off your pattern using your home printer, and then once it's downloaded, I'm going to share a few more tips on how to read, assemble, and actually use your printed pattern. Now let's get started. After purchasing your pattern, I want to show you where you can find your patterns. That's the most important part, right? We have to start somewhere. So we're going to go on the main page of Annie's Creative Studio, and you will see right up top there are a couple of tabs. One that says Welcome Heather, hey there. Another says My Account, and another is Customer Service. So we're going to start with My Account, and there will be a drop-down menu, and it says my bookshelves and videos, my wish lists, any of the classes that I've ordered, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to click is My Bookshelf and Videos. So you can see here on my bookshelf and video page that this has all of my patterns and classes that I've already purchased and I'm ready to use. So depending on which tab you have, either my patterns or here's another one of my classes, you can select from there. So we're going to go back and actually look at my patterns. And I'm going to highlight, we're going to demonstrate with the Dreams quilt pattern. Now, in the middle of the screen, you'll see right next to it, there are two options. You can download a low-res PDF or a high-res PDF. It really just depends on how much detail you want on your printer. Personally, since I'm not printing this out for anyone else to see but myself, I'm going to go with low res. It's going to take less space on my computer and it'll be perfect. So you want to go ahead and hit the download button. It says download to this device. Just click that and you will instantly see it download to the lower portion of your computer screen. And I am going to click that open and it will open up in a brand new tab. Now, once there, I can scroll through and see all of the pages that I actually need to complete this project. This is an adorable little printed quilt, and it has a couple of applique pieces that need to be printed out. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I'm just scrolling here, that there are many pages. This pattern actually has 8 pages total, but I don't need all those pages printed. I only need, let's see, I need from page 5 to 7 printed. So what I'm going to do is actually hit the print button right up top. So it's print. Now you'll see there's another pop-up on my computer that came up and I can print. But before I do that, I want to change it because I don't need to print everything out and I only want to print from page 5 to 7. So I have written that in the little pages and right now it's printing black and white. Since these pages are just black and white, there's no reason for me to change anything on my settings. And the other thing that is incredibly important when you're dealing with any type of applique or pattern that's sized is you don't want to change any of the scale settings unless it's specifically stated within the pattern. So I'm going to leave mine as fit to page and I'm just going to hit the print button. So you can see here that it printed off 2 pages, which these are perfect for me to now trace off and complete my pattern. It was really just that easy for me to find a pattern that was already loaded up into my library and print off the pages that I needed. Now, if I needed additional pages, I could go back and print them as well. So that was easy in order to download your printable pattern, but what if you have a class and you're not really sure where to find it? Let me show you. We're going to go back up to the top and hit the tab that says My Classes. From there, you'll see that I have 2 classes actually in my library, and I'm going to choose this fusible applique machine. This fusible applique, we're going to make a poppy wall hanging together. Okay, it's a new class that's coming out next season, so think of it this way, you've got the inside skinny. So once I click it, you can actually see that it shows up with the video from all the classes, right? From all the steps that are on there. There's all the information for the class description. But over here on the right-hand side, you'll see pattern download. You want to click the download button. And again, it will download directly to your computer. And I can click right on it, and it will open in another tab, just like our regular printed patterns. And you can see here that this pattern has 6 pages, and there are plenty of instructions for me to read, but I only need really those last few pages, right? So I need to print out page 4 and page 5. So we're going to go through the exact same process as we did with printing a regular pattern, but now this one is one that we are going to join together. So I'm going to hit my print button. On every computer it's going to be different. Mine happens to be in the right-hand corner. And again, I only need page 4 and 5. So instead of printing all the pages, I'm going to specify 4 through 5. And everything is set for the scale, and I'm going to hit the print button. Now, as I mentioned, our patterns come in all different shapes and sizes, and some of them are too large to be on one page. So let's take our poppy applique pattern that we just downloaded. I've printed it off, and it actually comes on 2 different pages. Now, we need to join these. You can see on my page that they have a line where they're going to overlap a little bit and be joined together. So I wanted to take a few minutes and really show you how to do this. It's very simple. All you need is some paper, scissors, and some Scotch tape. Really simple. So you'll see on the pattern that there is actually a printed line. It's usually a dotted line, and it says match on line and make the complete pattern. It's really that simple. And you're just going to, I like to trim along the line and leave actually the one that's going to go underneath it. I'll leave all of that below, so this way it'll give me an easier placement. Now, you'll also notice on this pattern that there are little A's on each side and B as well. So those are markings for you to line them up, and you know that it's in the right place. So once you have everything all lined up, just simply tape it in place. It's really pretty easy. I like to actually tape both sides. Gives it a little bit more stability, but I mean, it's just a personal preference. And honestly, it doesn't take long. So once you have this all set up, you are ready to start tracing all of this, and you are really ready to get going on the next step of your pattern. Now that we have our pattern printed and assembled, I want to give you a few more tips on how to actually read it. The first tip that I'm going to give you is actually really basic. It's best for you to read everything. Even before you print it out, it'll remind you of if you should be printing it to scale, or if maybe you should enlarge it to 200%, like on the little oven mitt that I made earlier last season. So just take a minute, pause for a second, read through your pattern, and then hit the print button. I promise it'll save you a little bit of headache later on. Then you'll notice, for example, on this Poppy's floral pattern, that there are all these different shapes in here, and some of them are overlapping. So now when you're tracing out, you're actually going to use all of these dotted lines to connect this under piece. You want to make sure that when you're tracing it out onto your fusible paper backing, that you capture all of the design. Super important, and it will make your project come together really smooth on the back end. Okay, so that is one really important tip. Another is that all of our patterns are already printed out in the reverse, right? So they're mirrored. So this way, when you print this out or trace it onto your paper backing, you will then be putting it onto the wrong side of your fabric, and then when you flip it over, the pattern direction is actually going to be going the other way. So something to keep in mind if you want to change the direction, these images are already pre-mirrored for you, and you want to keep that in mind when you're actually working on your project. All of these little tips will help you get the most out of your project for perfect results.